All right, so I'm sure you know the Enneagram basics by now,
Yeah.
but have you ever thought about Hugh Hefner, like through that lens,
Oh, interesting.
like, beyond the silk pajamas and the whole Playboy image?
Right, right.
We're going to deep dive into Hefner as like a case study for the Enneagram Type 7,
Okay.
specifically the self-preservation subtype, which is nicknamed the Guardian of the Castle.
Hmm.
And let me tell you, it's way more interesting than you might think.
I can imagine. I'm intrigued.
So,
Yeah, what's so fascinating is when you peel back the layers,
right.
Hefner's life becomes this incredible example of how a specific Enneagram type plays out in the real world.
Mhm.
We're not just talking theory here.
Right.
We're looking at how these motivations and fears
Right.
manifest in a really tangible way.
Exactly.
It's fascinating.
And we're not here to judge or endorse his lifestyle,
Yeah.
but to analyze it.
Right.
What can we learn from this guy? So let's start with this idea of the Guardian of the Castle.
Okay.
We know that sevens are all about chasing experiences
Mm-hmm.
and avoiding pain.
Yeah.
But what makes the self-preservation 7 unique?
So every 7 wants to build their own little paradise.
Okay.
Right, a place where they're free to explore and indulge.
Hmm.
But for the self-preservation 7, that paradise needs walls. It needs to be really carefully curated,
Okay.
controlled, even fortified against anything that might threaten
Yeah.
their sense of freedom and enjoyment. They're protecting their fun.
That makes sense. So that's where the Playboy Mansion comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't just a party house.
Uh-huh.
It was Hefner's meticulously designed fortress of fun.
Precisely.
Wow.
It's not just about the parties, though.
Well, okay.
It's about the control.
Yeah.
Every detail from the decor to the guest list
Right.
was crafted to maintain a specific atmosphere, a
Interesting.
world where Hefner felt safe,
Yeah.
stimulated, and in charge.
It's like he built his own personal utopia.
Right.
His own, carefully curated reality.
Yeah, and it's not some passive fantasy either.
Mhm.
He was actively involved in every aspect of creating and maintaining it. Every little detail.
Yeah, and that hands-on approach is another hallmark of the self-preservation 7.
Oh, absolutely. They're not just dreamers, they're builders.
Oh, I see.
They want to see their vision come to life
Yeah,
in a really tangible, concrete way.
that makes sense.
And Hefner was deeply involved in
Yeah.
every aspect of building Playboy,
Wow.
from editing and writing to managing the business side of things.
Mhm.
He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty to
Yeah.
make his vision a reality.
Which is interesting because we often think of 7s as being flighty or scattered,
Right.
but there's a real practicality to the
Yeah.
self-preservation subtype.
Yeah.
They're not just about having fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're about creating a sustainable foundation for that fun.
Yeah, that's a great point, and this leads us to another key aspect
Okay.
of the self-preservation 7.
Mm-hmm.
Their incredible opportunism.
Oh, really?
They have this almost uncanny ability to spot cultural shifts
Okay.
and capitalize on them, always looking for the next big thing, the next adventure.
So how does that play out with Hefner? He didn't just stumble into success.
No, not at all.
Right. He built an empire.
Think about America in the 1950s.
Yeah.
It was a pretty conservative time, right?
Uh-huh.
But Hefner sensed a change brewing,
Yeah.
a desire for something more open,
Mhm.
more liberating.
Right.
And he was brilliant at tapping into that,
Yeah.
packaging it in a way that felt sophisticated,
Okay.
even intellectual.
So he didn't just publish a dirty magazine.
Right.
Right. He launched a cultural phenomenon.
Exactly.
He anticipated where society was heading.
Yeah.
And positioned himself at the forefront of that wave.
And he was constantly adapting, too, reinventing Playboy across different platforms.
Yeah.
To stay relevant, he wasn't just riding the wave.
Right.
He was creating it.
So it wasn't just about publishing a magazine. It was about promoting a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Whole philosophy centered on pleasure and personal freedom.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another core element
Okay.
of the self-preservation 7.
Mm-hmm.
Their relentless pursuit of pleasure and novelty.
Mm.
For them, life is about experiencing everything it has to offer.
Right.
Pushing boundaries and never settling for anything less than extraordinary.
And the Playboy Mansion becomes this larger-than-life symbol of that philosophy.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't just a house.
No.
It was like a playground for the senses.
Exactly.
A place where anything seemed possible.
Right.
Wow.
It's easy to get caught up in the surface level image of the parties and the excess.
Right.
But when you understand the underlying motivations,
Mhm.
it becomes much more complex and, frankly, fascinating.
Yeah.
It's about creating a world where those desires
Right.
can be explored and celebrated.
Like a safe space to explore those desires.
Exactly.
Interesting. It's interesting because we often associate sevens with this like carefree, lighthearted energy,
Right.
but there's a deeper layer of fear like driving all this.
Yeah, it's the fear of limitation,
Okay.
of missing out, of being like trapped or controlled. They're constantly running from anything that might stifle their freedom
Right.
or their ability to experience life to the fullest.
So for someone like Hefner,
Yeah.
building this empire, like curating this specific environment, is it a way of controlling his world so that he doesn't feel limited?
Exactly. It's like building a wall around your own personal playground
Wow.
so that nothing can disrupt the fun.
That's a really good way to put it.
But what's remarkable about Hefner is his resilience.
Oh, interesting.
We don't always associate sevens with resilience,
Right.
but he faced constant criticism, legal battles, cultural shifts,
Wow.
and he just kept bouncing back.
Okay, but isn't that optimism kind of built into the seven personality?
Yeah.
It's like they can't help but see the silver lining, the next exciting possibility.
That's true, but it's also a testament to their adaptability.
Okay.
They're not afraid to change course, to reinvent themselves, to find a new path to their goals. Hefner never let setbacks stop him.
Wow.
He just kept evolving,
Yeah.
finding new ways to express his vision and stay ahead of the curve.
So we've talked about the castle, the control, the opportunism, the pursuit of pleasure. But there's another piece to this puzzle, right?
Yeah.
The community aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Hefner wasn't a lone wolf in his mansion.
No.
He had this whole entourage, like a kind of extended family.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Self-preservation, sevens may seem independent,
Right.
but they crave connection.
Okay.
They want to share their world with others, create a tribe of like-minded people
Right.
who appreciate their vision
Right.
and enhance their experience of life.
So the Playboy Mansion wasn't just a personal sanctuary.
No, it was a social hub.
It was like his castle and he was the king.
Exactly. He filled it with artists, writers, musicians, celebrities.
Wow.
Anyone who contributed to that like vibrant, creative atmosphere he was cultivating. It was a space where people could connect, collaborate, and push boundaries together.
So it's not just about individual pleasure,
Right.
but about shared experience.
Precisely. And that extended beyond the walls of the mansion.
Really?
Through Playboy, he fostered this global community
Wow.
of readers and contributors
Right.
who resonated with his philosophy, his vision of a world where pleasure and personal freedom were celebrated.
So it's bigger than himself.
Yeah, he created the sense of belonging, of being part of something bigger than yourself.
Which makes sense because for sevens, life is all about expansion,
Yes.
about pushing beyond limitations. And that includes expanding their circle of connection,
Absolutely.
creating a network of people who share their zest for life.
And that brings us to another key element of the self-preservation seven,
Okay.
their boundless energy.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to have this endless well of enthusiasm, this drive to experience everything life has to offer.
And Hefner was a prime example of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he was notorious for his busy schedule,
Right.
juggling the demands of his empire with a seemingly endless social calendar.
Exactly.
It's like he never slept.
That's the thing about sevens. They're afraid of stagnation,
Oh,
of
yeah.
missing out. So they're always on the move, always looking for the next exciting experience, the next adventure.
And Hefner really embodied that, right?
Oh, he did.
He challenged conventional ideas about aging, about what it meant to live a full life.
Absolutely.
He was always pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
always seeking out new possibilities.
He was a true visionary in many ways.
Yeah,
Constantly reinventing himself and his brand.
right.
Never content to settle for the status quo.
And that relentless pursuit of novelty
Yes.
is part of what made him such a captivating and sometimes controversial figure.
It definitely is.
And I think that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
I agree.
We're going beyond the surface level stereotypes
Yeah.
and really getting into the complexities of the self-preservation seven.
Yeah.
It's not just about hedonism or escapism.
Right.
It's about this deeper drive to create a world that feels safe, expansive, and endlessly exciting.
And Hefner's life story provides this incredible window
Yeah.
into how those motivations can manifest in the real world,
Right.
both the positive and the potentially challenging aspects.
Because let's be honest, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
There are potential downsides to this personality type as well.
Right. And I think it's important to acknowledge those.
Okay.
The constant need for stimulation can lead to restlessness,
Right.
a fear of commitment, and difficulty facing difficult emotions.
Yeah, like avoiding those negative feelings.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the relentless pursuit of pleasure can sometimes come at a cost.
Like what kinds of costs?
Well, there can be a tendency towards excess,
Okay.
a difficulty with moderation, and a struggle to find true fulfillment.
So it's like they're always chasing the next thing,
Right. Always searching for that next hit of pleasure.
but never really finding lasting satisfaction.
Exactly. It's a constant cycle of seeking and never quite arriving.
That's really insightful.
But that's the beauty of the Enneagram.
Okay.
It's not about judging or labeling.
Yeah.
It's about understanding. It's about recognizing the patterns, the motivations, the strengths, and the weaknesses that shape our behavior.
So even though Hefner's choices might not resonate with everyone,
Right.
we can still learn from his story.
Absolutely.
We can see how his relentless pursuit of pleasure and freedom, his drive to create his own reality, both empowered him and perhaps limited him in certain ways.
And that's the real takeaway here.
Right.
The Enneagram isn't about putting people in boxes.
Yeah.
It's about providing a framework for understanding the complexities of human motivation and behavior.
It's about seeing ourselves and others with more clarity, more compassion,
Yes.
and more awareness of the forces that drive us.
Exactly. It's a tool for growth and self-discovery.
So we've really unpacked this self-preservation 7 through the lens of Hugh Hefner's life.
Yeah.
This idea of building your own world, seeking constant stimulation, and surrounding yourself with a community that shares your values.
Right.
That's like a fascinating study in how a specific Enneagram type can really play out.
It really is. And it goes beyond just the surface level understanding of sevens as pleasure seekers.
Right.
We've seen how Hefner's drive to create this safe and controlled environment, his opportunism, his resilience, and his constant energy all tie back to those core 7 motivations and fears.
But as with any Enneagram type, there's always that shadow side, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The potential downsides that we need to be aware of.
Right. And in Hefner's case, it's interesting to consider
Okay.
how his relentless pursuit of pleasure and freedom
Yeah.
might have impacted his ability to be a true guardian, not just of his own world, but of the community he created.
Because on one hand, he was a trailblazer,
Yeah,
challenging societal norms and advocating for personal liberation.
absolutely.
Like he opened up conversations about sexuality and helped create a space for people to explore their desires more freely.
He challenged the status quo, pushed boundaries, and encouraged people to embrace their individuality.
Yeah.
In many ways, he was a champion of self-expression
Yeah.
and a catalyst for cultural change.
Yeah. But on the other hand, his empire was built on an industry
Yeah,
that often objectifies and commodifies women.
that's true.
And his own personal life, with its emphasis on youth and beauty,
Right.
raises questions about authenticity and the nature of his relationships.
It's complex, isn't it?
It really is.
Because even with the best of intentions,
Yeah.
there can be unintended consequences.
Right.
And when you build a world solely focused on pleasure,
Yeah.
it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture, the potential impact on others.
And that's the thing about the Enneagram.
Right.
It's not about judging or labeling people as good or bad. It's about recognizing the nuances,
Yeah.
the complexity.
A light and shadow sides
Right.
that exist within each of us.
And it's about using that knowledge
Absolutely.
to become more self-aware, to make more conscious choices,
Yes.
and to strive for a balance between our own needs
Right.
and the needs of others.
It's about finding that harmony.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life and legacy of Hugh Hefner,
Okay.
we leave you with this final thought.
I like it.
How can we embrace the positive aspects of the self-preservation? 7. The joy, the resilience, the energy,
Right.
while also acknowledging the potential pitfalls.
How can we cultivate a sense of responsibility,
Right.
authenticity, and genuine connection
Yeah.
while still honoring our need for freedom and exploration?
It's a question worth pondering,
It is.
and perhaps one that each of us, regardless of our Enneagram type, needs to grapple with as we navigate our own paths.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
We hope it's given you some food for thought.
some things to think about.
And maybe even inspired you to take a closer look.
Yeah.
It's your own Enneagram type.
Until next time.
See ya.